Good morning. President Trump's tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China will take full effect tonight at midnight. Trump is imposing a 25% tariff on all goods from Mexico and Canada, a 10% tariff on Canadian energy, and a 10% tariff on all goods from China. And he says this will all be worth it in the end.
We're going to make America great again. We have to focus on our country. Tremendous deficits with China, tremendous deficits with the European Union, tremendous deficits with Mexico and Canada. And why? What's the purpose of that? Why would we have deficits? I'm speaking with Prime Minister Trudeau tomorrow morning, and I'm also speaking with Mexico tomorrow morning. And I don't expect anything very dramatic.
Trump's order is met with major backlash from both Canada and Mexico, who are both vowing to retaliate. Chrystia Freeland, the former Canadian Deputy Prime Minister and the primary contender to replace Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, is slamming the move. Listen.
This action is utter madness. It is a betrayal of America's closest friend, of your ally, your neighbor, your best partner in the whole world. It is an act of economic warfare.
But the CEO of Canada's second largest publicly traded company is defending Trump's tariffs. He says, quote, Canada thrives when it works with America together. Win by helping America win. Trump believes that Canada has not held its side of the bargain. Meanwhile, here at home, Trump remains focused on cutting government spending. Elon Musk says he spoke to the president about doing away with USAID. Now, that's an organization that carries out foreign aid programs around the world.
I went over it with him, in detail, and he agreed with that we should shut it down. And I actually checked with him a few times. Said, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes." So we're shutting it down.
Congressional research shows USAID managed over $40 billion of appropriations in fiscal year 2023. Guys.
To Canada and Mexico, I say it is this simple. Shut down the fentanyl.
Yep.
Stop it from coming across our borders and killing our people. Literally, that's it.
That's right.
How do you boys like your gifts? It's tariffs.
Do you like it?
No!
What?
What? This ain't the stuff I like!
Ooh, baby, you gotta keep up with the hot, spicy news cycle. It's ever changing, and it is so caliente this morning, baby. It's your boy Benny back in the studio. Let's rock and roll. Today is Monday, February 3rd, 2025. Welcome to February after what is clearly the best month of our lives. Am I wrong? Can we just start there? We have so much breaking news to get to. Can I just start with January, probably the best month of our lives? You feel me on that? If you are tuned in and locked into the future of your country, January was the best month you've ever lived. And I welcomed my fourth child in January. There are a lot of reasons. The show's been wildly successful. Freaking team is like cranking. Man, it is so exciting to be living right now in the United States of America. And we have victories to talk about that happened literally seconds ago. So we apologize for being a few minutes late. Literally seconds ago, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump wins. Mexico surrenders to Trump. This is the biggest Mexican surrender to the United States of America since Zachary Taylor marched U.S. Marines into Mexico City and conquered Mexico in the Mexican-American War. Remember the Alamo. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk all about it. FBI being purged also, and USAID, possibly one of the most criminal and corrupt organizations in the entire country. You've never heard of them? Yeah, that's the point. We're going to talk about it today. Elon Musk shutting all of it down, and the deep state is screaming with rage. Julie Kelly joins the program today, and a Texas congressman, Chip Roy, will be joining us to talk about Mexico bending the knee and building the wall. ALX, I'm telling you right now, I want Donald Trump, classic vintage Trump. Give me vintage Trump like a fine wine. I'm looking around for a wine. Of course I don't have a wine glass. I got water in my coffee. And my salt shaker, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty of salt for our margarita glasses today. Welcome back to the great American Golden Era. This, the front seat to the Golden Era. My name is Benny Johnson, and you are watching The Benny Show. Americans still have kitchen table problems, ladies and gentlemen. Still lots of debt, lots of craziness in the stock market. Stock market collapsed this weekend over Donald Trump's real threat of tariffs, and now it's skyrocketing again. The art of the deal, baby. But either way, make sure that if you are carrying high credit card debt, that you contact my friends at American Financing. Contact my friends at American Financing today because their salary-based mortgage consultants can help you and homeowners like you tap into your home's equity and get out of high-interest debt. They're saving an average customer $800 a month by doing this, saving on every kind of financial decision. All it takes is 10 minutes. No cost obligation phone call. Call American Financing today at 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219, americanfinancing.net/Benny. Disclaimer, NMLS 182334, NMLSconsumeraccess.org to find out more. Okay, here we go. Locked and loaded. Let's set this all up like in the tee box. Very simple. Here's the setup, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump this weekend. We are tariffing Mexico and Canada. Today, I have implemented a 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada, 10% on Canadian energy, 10% on additional tariff on China. We're going to get into later in the show how USAID, through Dr. Fauci, funded the creation of the COVID virus in China. They made it. The U.S. government made COVID. Do you understand? Let's be awake on this program, okay? All right. U.S. government also created our fentanyl epidemic. It all ties together. Time is a flat circle. The fentanyl comes from China. It goes through Mexico. The United States government opens up our border with Mexico and allows Mexico, via China, to kill us all. Do you understand? To get rid of the populations, to scourge the populations throughout red states and rural areas who are predominantly affected by the fentanyl crisis, including areas where I come from, like in Iowa. And then what happens? Unlimited criminal immigration into those areas, ladies and gentlemen, you call that replacement population. It is an evil globalist plot to destroy nations and nationalities and to kill us all. They actually want us dead. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a way to metaphorically make sure that that ideology itself is what dies. And that is what's happening right now. In quick order, let's begin. Donald Trump saying that he is going to put tariffs on Mexico and Canada, thus tanking the economies of Mexico and Canada. The economies of Mexico and Canada, we looked this up, depend on America for their GDP. How much, you would say? Is it like a couple percent? You know, is it like a few? No, 30% for Canada and 40% for Mexico of their GDP is dependent upon the United States. So you can effectively delete a third or half of the Mexican and Canadian economies by doing tariffs like this. Tariffs like this, of course, make it virtually impossible to buy these Canadian goods, to sell into or out of Canada. It cripples and causes recessions for these nations. Like overnight, the Canadian dollar collapsed, the Mexican peso threw the floor into the center of the earth upon this announcement. Donald Trump's explanation for this is very clear. I'm doing this because of the major threat of illegal aliens and deadly drugs killing our citizens, including fentanyl. We need to protect Americans. And it's my duty as president to ensure that safety for all. And I made a promise on the campaign to stop the flood of illegal aliens and drugs pouring across our borders, and Americans overwhelmingly voted in favor of it, and so Americans are going to get what they want. Mexico, initially, along with Fidel Castro's bastard son, who somehow inexplicably runs Canada. Hey, Alex, I thought he resigned. When does Justin Trudeau leave? When does he leave? Communist twinkle toes. Up north, ladies and gentlemen, very angry. Lots of bluster, lots of rage, lots of mean tweets, and lots of hysterics and histrionics. But guess what? It doesn't really matter, ladies and gentlemen. It's all noise. Talk is cheap. Actions are all that matter in this life, and now we have victory. Now we have victory. Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump announced today that the leaders of Canada and Mexico are now groveling at his feet, on their knees, begging, we'll do anything. And well, ladies and gentlemen, it sure as hell turns out that when they effed around, they indeed found out. We can report to you right now that Mexico has decided to give President Trump literally everything that he wants. Oh yeah, we'll get into the. My producer's telling me, make sure that we play President Trump talking mad game at Mexico. Here we go. Okay, so before we get into like exactly how badly Mexico just surrendered to Trump, I just want mean talk, okay, by President Trump. All right, just the freaking meanest smack talk you've ever heard. So Mexico and Canada both said, no, we're not going to do it. In fact, we're going to tariff America. Remember I told you that Mexico is 40% of their economy is dependent on America, and that 30% of Canada's economy is dependent on America, and that like literal recession happens in less than a week if President Trump goes forward with these tariffs. And President Trump said that there was no consolation. He was just going to do them. Like there's nothing you can do about it. Canada and Mexico said, well, we'll tariff America. Okay, I know you are, but what am I? They're saying, I know you are. And the American economy, we looked this up, has a dependency of 1.2% of GDP on Mexico and 1.3% of GDP on Canada. So this is called leverage in negotiation. If somebody is coming after you and they are literally a fractional percentage of your strength, then you're not going to be worried about them, right? If they're like one of those, if you're like a bodybuilder, WWE wrestler, and one of those small midget with guys with the mask on, right? That's very popular in Mexico. Like, yeah, what are they called? Luchador, like a little luchador. Like they're funny. It's like a novelty. It's hilarious, but they're not gonna take down The Rock, okay? Or for lack of a better, what's a proper WWE wrestler? They're not gonna take down they're not gonna take on Hulk Hogan. Let's do Hulk Hogan, okay? He's our boy. It's not gonna work. It'll be funny. It'll be very entertaining to have like the little luchador like, but it's not gonna take down Hulk. It's gonna laugh. Everyone's gonna laugh. Okay, it's gonna be funny actually to watch. So that's what Canada and Mexico are doing right now. And Donald Trump is Hulk Hogan in the middle of the ring with the giant American flag, beating the ever-loving crap out of these little luchadors. And it's really fun to watch. Here's President Trump.
Are you planning to increase the tariffs against Canada? Well, it could happen. If they do anything, we will. Canada's been very abusive of the United States for many years. They don't allow our banks. Did you know that? Canada does not allow banks to go in. If you think about it, that's pretty amazing. If we have a U.S. bank, they don't allow them to go in. Canada's been very tough on oil, on energy. They don't allow our farm products in, essentially. They don't allow a lot of things in, and we allow everything to come in. It's been a one-way street. We subsidize Canada by the tune of about $200 billion a year. And for what? What do we get out of it? We don't get anything out of it. I love the people of Canada. I disagree with the leadership of Canada. And something's going to happen there. But if they want to play the game, I don't mind. We can play the game all they want. Mexico, we've had very good talks with them. And this is retaliatory. This is retaliatory to a certain extent. Millions of people flowed into our country through Mexico and Canada. And we're not going to allow that.
According to our sources inside of the Department of Homeland Security, the number one pound for pound quantity of fentanyl pouring into America coming through the northern border, not through the southern anymore. Person per person, mule for mule, pound for pound, the northern border is where the fentanyl is coming from, not the southern any longer. And so this is a true and real problem. Justin Trudeau, on a heavy, steeping dose of Midol, decided to take the podium in Canada and try and act tough. little luchador with his mask on, his little ball gag, gets marched out to try and like smack talk Trump. So this is Justin Trudeau's response here, ladies and gentlemen.
Tonight, I am announcing Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods. This will include immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125 billion worth of American products in 21 days' time to allow Canadian companies and supply chains to seek to find alternatives.
That's my best luchador impression, right? He's a little Nacho Libre. Anyone like kind of like that? Like you ever seen that movie? Okay, this is like Justin Trudeau. It's not. It's harder to talk tough when you're doing the crying guy meme. Klein, can you find the crying guy meme? It's like the meme where the guy, bro, please, please don't tariff us, bro, please. That one, please, bro. This is literally Justin Trudeau. Please, Trump, don't do it. Please, come on, bro. Don't tariff us, bro. We won't be able to get our syrup, bro. Okay, we won't give you syrup. We won't give you shittier whiskey, okay, than what you can make in America, bro. All right? Have you tried it, bro? Don't tariff us, bro. All right? Don't even try, okay? Come on. Don't you like hockey, bro? Don't you like it? It's not like us, bro. Okay? Stop. Come on, bro. Come on. We'll put the black lady back on the syrup for you, okay? We'll do it. We know that's what you want. We'll do it, bro. All right? Anything you want, bro. Just don't tariff us, bro, okay? Stop. Bring back Aunt Jemima. Justin Trudeau does the meme. Okay. So here's Scheinbaum. Claudia Scheinbaum, right? All right, here comes the Mexican president. Now, a reminder that the Mexican president, fresh off of her being triggered by the Gulf of America name change. Hey, Alex, do we have that clip? I really want to play that one because that was really, really fun. If we can load that up, please. So she's fresh off of a hysterical menopausal meltdown over the change of the name Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Well, of course it should be the Gulf of America. We're the ones who protect it. We're the only reason that it's valuable at all. We're the only reason anyone wants to go there. We're the entire economic driving force, and we own the vast majority of the Gulf of Mexico is American landmass. I happen to live on the Gulf of America. Won't dead name here. And so, no, we won't be changing it. She tried to threaten Trump, saying that she's now going to call America Mexican America. That's what she's going to do. So she did a whole press conference saying if you change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, we will go back into colonial times and call the landmass that was called Mexican America back in the original Spanish days of like the 1600s. We're going to call you Mexican America. The effing around period was then, and the find out period is now. Here's the Mexican president talking all tough about Trump's tariff.
Esta medida del 25% de los aranceles tiene efectos para ambos países, pero tiene efectos muy graves para la economía de los Estados Unidos, pues va a elevar los costos muchísimo de todos los productos que se exportan de México hacia los Estados Unidos. Va a tener un 25% más de costo.
I don't understand you, lady. I didn't get any of that. I just need a chalupa, okay? I'm hungry. It's been a late night. All right. My team lost. I need a chalupa. Okay. I don't understand you, lady. Just get me and a Mexican pizza. Okay. Do you still make those? If you know, you know. If you were an OG Taco Bell fan, you'll understand the Mexican pizza. Okay. Just please. We do have the clip, and so we might as well, before we get to the good news of all of them surrendering, right? Because they recorded these videos last night. Are you aware of this? This was last night. They're all like, we're coming for you, Trump. It didn't even last 24 hours. But we do have her having a meltdown over the name change of the Gulf of Mexico. Just for fun. Here we go, just real quickly.
Digo, obviamente, el Golfo de México es reconocido el nombre por Naciones Unidas, un organismo de Naciones Unidas, pero el siguiente, ¿por qué no le llamamos América Mexicana? Se oye bonito, ¿no? ¿Verdad que sí? Desde 1607, la Constitución de Apatzingán era de América Mexicana.
Oh, wow. Tough guy.
Entonces, vamos a llamarle América Mexicana.
Oh, okay. Tough guy.
Se oye bonito, ¿no?
Yeah, good. Okay,
Y Golfo de México, pues, desde 1607 y además está reconocido internacionalmente. Bueno.
Okay, enough of this. Just a reminder, if you want to go, if she wants to go back into like ancient history, it's been called this since the 1600s. Well, I mean, obviously, you don't want us to go back into our history, like the 1840s, when America conquered Mexico. America like owned Mexico after the Mexican-American War. American military Marines were stationed in Mexico City, a total and complete conquest of the entire nation. Zachary Taylor was the general, and he was the warlord of Mexico City. You want to go back into those? You want to pick time periods, right? Why don't we pick time periods for Panama? Why don't we just why don't we go back? We can just rewind the clock back. This lady is sitting there she is totally, completely owned by the cartels. She's in total business with the World Economic Forum. She's in an installed apparatchik of globalists to try and squeeze America. Their idea was they were going to squeeze America with these two communist globalist leaders at top and tail. And that's how they were going to contain Trump. How's that working out for you? Yeah, okay. Yeah, you don't want us to go back into the 1840s, lady. But I'm telling you what, I'm very happy to live in 2025 because here are their results, okay? All of the bluster and all the talk ends with what? Get down on your knees. Get down on your knees and say, yes, please. Can I have something like, please, anything you want, daddy. That's what just happened for Trump in the international space right now as Mexico has decided to give Donald Trump absolutely everything that they want. I just spoke with President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico, and it's a very friendly conversation wherein she agreed to immediately put 10,000 Mexican soldiers on the border separating Mexico and the United States. These soldiers will be specifically designated to stop the flow of fentanyl, illegal immigrants, into our country. We further agreed to immediately pause the anticipated tariffs for a 1-month period, during which we will have negotiations headed by the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, and high-level representations of Mexico. I look forward to participating in these negotiations with President Sheinbaum as we attempt to achieve a deal for our two countries. Deal. Oh, yeah, here's the deal. Here's Claudia Sheinbaum explaining exactly how very much she loves the wall and Mexico's willing to pay for it. Get a load of this. We had a good conversation with Trump. The great respect for our relationship and sovereignty. We reached a series of agreements. Mexico will immediately reinforce the northern border with 10,000 Mexican National Guard troops to prevent drug trafficking from Mexico to the United States, particularly fentanyl. This is a perfect time for us to play the old clip. Alex, do we have the old clip? President Trump, Mexico's going to pay for the wall? Got to get the old one. Got to go on the original vintage, 2015. 2050, I want original vintage Trump. I want the real good stuff from the dark cellar, way down deep. Get me original 2016, 2015 Trump. I want the old vintage. Mexico's going to pay for the wall. We're going to build the wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. Here's Donald Trump making good on that promise. A decade-old promise. Boom. And it's coming directly from the president of Mexico. Oh, it's so beautiful. Get me that clip. The United States is committed to working to prevent the trafficking of high-powered weapons into Mexico. Okay, good, I guess, right? Yeah, okay, fine. I don't want that. What is that, like a thing that says, like, do you remember Eric Holder? Like giving all the cartels drugs and money and guns? Like Eric Holder doing that operation? It's called Operation Fast and Furious. It's like a long time ago, like this was like 15 years ago. Operation Fast and Furious, Eric Holder, at the direction of the U.S. government and at the expense of the American taxpayer, armed the cartels with guns that ended up killing Americans. If we had the ecosystem that we have now, Eric Holder would be in Guantanamo Bay, suffering for his crimes. Unfortunately, it was back during the simp, rhino, cuck era of the Republican Party that is really just like the, Washington Generals version of the Republican Party. If you understand that concept, the Washington Generals versus the Harlem Globetrotters. The Washington Generals, the goal of the Washington Generals, this fake team, was to just be a patsy, was to not actually be a team. They always lost. That was the funny part about the sketch. That's the show. The show is that the Globetrotters win and the Washington Generals lose every single time. That's what the Republican Party was for my entire life. We're living in a totally different America now. But there was a time when a dude named Eric Holder gave guns to the cartels to go kill Americans. That's what they did. They went out and they killed Americans with this. So, I mean, yes, I agree with the Mexican president here. Good. The U.S. should not be giving guns to the cartels. Agree. Mexico will pay for the wall. Agree. Do we have it? Here we go.
Mexico's going to pay for the wall because Mexico, I love the Mexican people. I respect the Mexican leaders, but the leaders are much sharper, smarter, and more cunning than our leaders. And just to finish, people say, oh, how are you going to get Mexico to pay? A politician, other than the people on this stage, I don't want to insult, a politician cannot get them to pay. I can.
It's so beautiful. ALX, it's so beautiful. People, it's so chat. I haven't done my heart to the chat yet today. Heart to the chat, okay? Can we get some Trump? Can we get Trump waving out of the windows in the chat, please? Just a couple emojis of Trump waving out of the windows for the deportations and waving at Mexico over the wall that they're paying for. It's so beautiful. Do we have another one, Killer Klein? Okay, let's do one more. Just to show. This is vintage Trump, 10-year-old Trump. Here we go.
We're going to build the wall. We have no choice. We have no choice. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
Come on.
Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
Go in. Go in. Little did this man know. Little did he know what he was building, man. It's amazing.
So, we're going to build it. Who's going to pay for the wall? 100%. By the way, 100%.
Are we having a great time? Are you having fun yet? All right, back to Scheinbaum. Here we go. Our trade teams will begin working today on two fronts, security and trade. They're pausing tariffs for 1 month now. So there you go. There she is. They're now pausing tariffs. Total and complete capitulation. Total and complete destruction. Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. JD Vance had a great banger on this. Do we have that tweet? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, here's JD Vance. Mexico, China have been taking advantage of the United States for decades, and we're going to put up the tweet. JD Vance doing an absolute end zone victory dance on Mexico right now. Here's JD Vance sort of explaining like the thought process behind all this.
The problem with this whole idea that they're going to retaliate is they have already been taking advantage of America for decades. The retaliation is Donald Trump saying no more. We're not going to be taken advantage of anymore. And I think it's important the president is doing what he's doing. Now, look, it looks different ways and comes in different forms, whether you're talking about Canada or China or Mexico. We know that Mexico has allowed the facilitation of the illegal drug trade and illegal sex trafficking for years and has done nothing about it. If they want to be a better partner to us, the time starts now. We know the Chinese, of course, have stolen American manufacturing jobs for 30, 40 years, and also that they facilitated the trafficking of illegal fentanyl into Mexico, where the drug cartels then bring it into our country. We are sick of being taken advantage of. We still have, thank God, the biggest economy in the entire world, the best people and the best workers. But the message from President Trump to the entire world is very clear. We are done being taken advantage of, and we have a president who looks out for the interests of American citizens. Thank God we do, and we're going to try to do it the best we can.
It's so beautiful. It's like you've woken up from a horrible dream, isn't it? Like one of those really long, like you're very tired and you go to sleep for a long period of time and you had like a crazy dream and you're like, the dream was like our leaders hated us and were replacing us and were willing to poison us and destroy the lives of our children for a globalist Marxist tyranny state. And then they were selling out this country like we were the brass on the Titanic. Like they just assumed that the country was sinking and going down. And then our leaders were actually partnering with like a demonic pedophile cult, like of sickos from all around the world to usher in the destruction of this great, beautiful, moral nation. And to literally doom us all into slavery and third world conditions. Like the goal was actually to destroy the first world and all of Western civilization and pump us all into eating bugs, into like eating the bug sludge and living inside of pods and to take away all of our rights. It is like that was the dream we were having, and somebody smacked us, woke us up, and now like we're, oh, thank God, that was all just like a bad dream. It's like a fever I had to break. And it's like, then you watch clips like that. One more, I can't help myself. I can't, Killer Klein. I asked our greatest production team on Earth here, I asked them to go find me Trump clips, and my cup runneth over. Do you want one more Trump clip? Can we do just one more Trump wins celebration? Klein, can we do a Trump wins? Yeah. Let's do a Trump wins, and then I'm going to show you one more vintage Trump clip. I can't get enough of these, because President Trump promised, this is probably his oldest promise kept. Am I wrong? This is Donald Trump's oldest promise kept. We're looking at videos, some of them are 11 years old, from Donald Trump's first sort of dipping his toes into, and this clip is the oldest. This is possibly Trump's first time promising that Mexico will pay for the wall. First time ever on record. This is an 11-year-old clip. Talk about a man of his word. What a wonderful arc we're all living in. Here's a Donald Trump wins, your Donald Trump wins moment of the show. we gotta play it. Yeah.
We are going to build a wall. Don't worry about it. And hey, wait a minute. And who's going to pay for the wall? Who's going to pay for the wall? Who's going to pay for the wall? I've never done that before. That's actually cute. I swear. I've never done that before.
Isn't that great? Thank you. Thank you to the production team here for telling me I must play this clip. How exciting is that? How fun is that? What an amazing, that's actually cute. You can see Trump in real time. You can see Trump. Look at his eyes. Look at his eye. Look at what a great time he's having here. You can see right here, right there. There's the exact moment when he figured out. He's like, wait a second, I just hacked the algorithm. This is perfect. Mexico will pay for it. Volume, please.
Who's going to pay for the wall? Who's going to pay for the wall? I've never done that before. That's actually cute. I've never done that before.
And now put up Scheinbaum's tweet. Here we go in the fast forward, ladies and gentlemen, into the golden era. Look at this. Item number 1, Mexico will immediately reinforce the border with 10,000 of our troops that we pay for to stop all drug trafficking and criminal aliens from entering America. Promises made, promises kept. Oh, man. And they knew it, too. Look at this. You know, we did our research and we looked into the percentages of the economies and how those economies interact with each other. I'm sorry, but when you have leverage in a relationship, a business relationship, one side suffers and one side wins. Okay, that's how virtually all business relationships go. Which side do you think is suffering? This is the peso versus the dollar, going down to 47 cents. Look at that cratering. And then the Canadian dollar. Here, cratering even further by percentage, by total percentage. What a nightmare, ladies and gentlemen, for these countries. They know. They know. And this is just like basic art of the deal genius from President Trump. Listen, man, the goal, and this is a really nice breakdown right here by a financial account that I really enjoy. But it's like it rings like a bell. It's just smart politics by President Trump. It's just smart economics by President Trump. President Trump is making the deal clear that his objective of tariffs is to. President Trump is making it clear that his objectives with tariffs is to obtain a deal, not to keep tariffs running indefinitely, which would be, like, frankly, bad for both economies, actually, in the end, right? Like, depending on how those deals work out. Mexico's president said she approached Trump with the deal. This is very important. How amazing is that? Trump forced her to come to him. This is why I say groveling on your knees. Bend the knee. This tells other leaders that they can make a deal with Donald Trump if they do the same, if they grovel to America, who pays all their bills and gives them all their protection. If President Trump wants to achieve objectives with tariffs, those objectives should be well outlined in advance. Okay, fine. The goal of tariffs is clearly not to completely erase the U.S. trade deficit. President Trump is aware that inflation risks long-term tariffs. Tariffs are meant to reduce trade deficits, but also tied to other policy interests that have waterfall economic effects for the United States. Mexico's president says that President Trump insisted on addressing trade deficit. She pushed back, and now they're going to talk about it. And now the markets are exploding. Now the markets are going gangbusters to the freaking moon. This is how you want to see your leaders interact. This is how you want to see it happen. You want to see it shake down like this. You know how you don't want to see your leaders act? And then I'm sorry, I'm done ranting. Okay, on this. I'm just you get too excited on these things. You know, you don't want to see the leaders act? We have our first cringe alert in quite a while. Cringe Jean Pierre is, I don't know, banished? I'm not sure. Like, I'm not exactly, is she the first one at Gitmo? I don't know. But she's gone. So we've been missing, and so's Kamala. And so we've been missing our cringe alerts, and we finally got you one. Chucky Schumer. Oh, Chucky. Little Chucky doll decided to try and manipulate the smooth brains of his last couple of followers into thinking that all of their beer is going to suddenly be very, very expensive by holding up a Corona and an avocado at a press conference. Yes. And by saying that we should allow drugs and criminal aliens to rape and pillage and destroy our nation and kill and slaughter into infinity in order for you to get guacamole. No, ladies and gentlemen, those who would trade guacamole and Corona for security deserve neither guacamole or security. And here, ladies and gentlemen, is our cringe of the day, Chucky Schumer.
Let's just take Super Bowl Sunday, okay? It's going to affect beer, okay? Most of it, Corona here, comes from Mexico. It's going to affect your guac, because what is guacamole made of? Avocados, both from Mexico.
Isn't this the guy? Hold on. ALX, you know what I need. Come on, go. Isn't this the guy that tried to grill a burger by putting the cheese on top of the raw burger? Is this the same guy? See, okay, hold on. If you're taking, there it is. If you're taking cooking advice from a dude who doesn't know how to grill a burger, who's clearly going to give his entire family salmonella, then you're doing it wrong. Oh yeah, this is the guy getting. Don't take Super Bowl Sunday advice on how to cook from this guy. The guy who puts the cheese on the raw meat. To what? Like to sicken his entire family? These people are truly sick. They want a sick nation. They would gladly trade cheap piss water beer. Have you ever drank Corona? It tastes like the bottom of your dog's water dish at the end of a hot summer day. No, it's disgusting. We don't need their Corona. Most American beer, the vast majority of good American beer, is made here in the United States. Well, all American beer. I'm just saying there are some companies that are owned by European companies. It gets a little complicated, right? It's global economy. But anyway, there's millions of craft breweries that make great American beer right here. You don't need Corona. I don't know what is this? Excited to be watching the Oscars with a ice cold plant-based beer. Thank you, Joe Biden, says Chuck Schumer. So here's Chuck Schumer fresh off of eating raw beef with like an unmelted slab of cheese on it. So he's eating raw beef and then he's eating plant-based beer. Watching the Oscars like 6 inches away from the TV. These are the leaders of the Democrat Party. What did we do to deserve? What did we do? What incredible blessing do we have that this is our opposition? I mean, our cup runneth over, ladies and gentlemen. Our cup runneth over. I know somebody is extremely, extremely happy and is going to be joining the show and has been very patient. It's great. Julie Kelly is going to be joining the show in just a moment. I mean, we have too many wins to get through, and we haven't even touched what's happening at the FBI, and that's what Julie's here to talk about. Marco Rubio succeeds in convincing Panama to exit Belt and Road Initiative with China. Just touching on this, like just one more massive win. We could do an entire show on this. We could do 20 shows on this. Panama Canal has been totally and completely bought up by the Chinese everywhere in Panama. Bro, I have a buddy who went down to Panama and started like a family vacation. All the menus were in Chinese. All the signs were in Chinese. China had pretty much bought the Panama Canal because some old dumbass called Jimmy Carter decided to just give away the Panama Canal that was purchased by the United States of America in blood and in treasure and in intelligence. It's still a freaking modern marvel 100 years after it was built. And do you know that we actually owned Panama Canal? I cannot emphasize this enough. The Panama Canal was sovereign United States territory. You could run up to the Panama Canal and be in America. We owned the canal. It's ours. Panama's entire independence came from Colombia because of us. We actually created a military blockade 100 years ago to actually get Panamanian independence. Panama was part of Colombia. So the entire existence of freaking Panama is because of America. Our blood, our treasure, our ingenuity, our genius. And then some limp dick dumbass named Jimmy Carter decided to like just give it away for nothing. Because it'll improve relationships with Latin America. How'd that work out for us? Go to any small town in America. Go to the southern border and ask yourself, how's that improved relationship going? Well, thank God now, adults are back in charge. Daddy's home. And Marco Rubio delivering massive wins in Panama, saying Panama has decided to cancel all Chinese contracts and effectively, like, is coming directly back into the American sphere of influence. Is it time to retake the Panama Canal? A reminder, it's ours. We bled for it. We died for it. Your great-great-grandfather and mine died for this invaluable asset to our hemisphere. And then we just handed it over to the Chinese because we're that weak and stupid? No. Not when Daddy's home. Here we go.
Una cosa importante, que es una decisión que adopté y se la comuniqué. El memorándum de entendimiento del año 2017 sobre la ruta de la seda de Belt and Road Initiative no será renovado por mi gobierno. Eso es así. Vamos a estudiar la posibilidad de si se puede terminar antes o no, pero creo que le toca en 1 o 2 años la renovación, porque es cada 3. Así que esa iniciativa que se firmó, cuando se firmó, en el tiempo que se firmó, no será renovada por mi gobierno.
Okay, so it's like, okay, this is the president of Panama. Guy was talking all big, saying, actually, we surrender too. We totally surrender too. We're canceling literally every Chinese contract, gone. We're ending contracts with China early, in fact. We're canceling them early. America is freaking back. Here's Marco Rubio touring the Panama Canal, talking with these companies, and like we are going to now re-exert ourselves as the world superpower, and you're not going to take advantage of us anymore. And yeah, the Panama Canal does belong to us, and so maybe it is time for it to become sovereign American territory again. I couldn't believe I was so utterly white-pilled when I heard about all this. So so Panama Canal, 10 miles north and 10 miles south was America, right? The way that like Hawaii or Alaska is America, even though it's not connected to mainland United States. It was America because we died for it. Freaking awesome. That's the way like the world should be, in fact. So good things happening all across the entire globe. And now it's time to focus in domestically, ladies and gentlemen, at the total and complete reordering of our federal bureaucracy and our federal law enforcement agencies. Whew, man, this is quite the topic. And it's been very, very spicy and very exciting. And you're going to have a lot of energy to cover it, the energy that we have in our cup every single morning. Ding, 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 ding. Blackout coffee. Blackout coffee, the same coffee that I will gladly pay $1 more for. Blackout coffee, of course, made here in America. So, like, no, you don't have to do that. But I'd gladly pay more for my guacamole. Wait a second. So expensive guacamole and $1 more for coffee, and I don't get criminal aliens raping and killing my family? Yeah, I'll take that deal. Thank you very much. There's one single coffee company that actually truly, deeply understands that, and it's Blackout Coffee. Blackout Coffee isn't just coffee. It's a wake-up call to Americans to rise and grind and push harder than ever before to not compromise what we stand for. Blackout Coffee is stepping up and adding warriors. Get your orders out faster than ever. Go to blackoutcoffee.com/Benny and use coupon code Benny for 20% off your order. Taste the coffee. It doesn't just wake you up, it fires you up. That's blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Daily grind, ladies and gentlemen. This is what we do on this program, and we are grinding it out today with the great Julie Kelly. Oh, man, Julie Kelly coming in rip-roaring off of, without question, the best week of her life. And I'm just going to say this, and we love Julie Kelly. This has got to be the single greatest week of her life, and I cannot wait to talk with her about it. Let's go. I'm not a gambling man. I'm not a gambling man. I'm no fun at the casinos, okay? I'm no good at that. Mm-hmm. I want to go to the casino with you. I want to go to a 7-Eleven and pick the Powerballs with you, Julie. Because you are the luckiest person on planet Earth right now. You have been predicting what should happen with President Trump's first couple weeks on this show for years. And now here we are. Julie, you were not only right, dare I say, some little birdies tell me you are perhaps the architect of the current salting of the earth inside of federal agencies. And so a very happy early Super Bowl touchdown dance victory to you, ma'am.
Well, thank you, Benny. What a Monday morning. Thank you for all the energy that you're sending my way. I think you had a lot of blackout coffee this morning, so that's good. Yes, this is amazing news. And honestly, it's happening at a quicker pace and more widely, I suppose you would say, than I originally that you and I have discussed or anticipated. So yes, this is tremendous news, what's happening. Top officials at the DOJ, top officials at the FBI being walked out of their offices. This is Washington field office, the Vegas field office, the Miami field office, which of course was participated in the armed raid of Mar-a-Lago. And it looks like what I'm really interested in, Benny, is this questionnaire that went out to every field office asking all FBI employees to account for their involvement in the January 6th investigation and prosecution of now, well, until it was shuttered, 1,600 Americans. So that questionnaire is due today by 3 o'clock. I expect they will be reviewed and processed quickly. It could be, Benny, up to 6,000 FBI employees who were involved, because every FBI field office was involved in that 4-year-long investigation and prosecution. So I think there's going to be more heads rolling today, tomorrow, and throughout the next few weeks.
So you have oft been on this program saying it is the seventh floor, the C-suite of the FBI that needs to go, and these people are utterly evil, and Donald Trump needs to be rid of them because they are the rats and the cancer inside of the organ itself. And if you were to save the organ at all, you must rid it of the cancer. And so that like Black Friday was this Friday at 5 p.m. There was a absolute total metaphorical bloodbath inside of the FBI. This is something that obviously you've been cheering on, and it was all you're saying it's not total yet though, and that it's just the start.
Correct. It is still just the start, I believe. Like I said, 6,000 or so FBI employees estimated to have been involved in the January 6th prosecution and investigation. And I really want to applaud the acting Attorney General, James McHenry, and the acting Deputy Attorney General, Emil Bove. They are the ones who are responsible for this immediate and swift action, this house cleaning. What I really think they're doing is laying the groundwork for Kash Patel. So clearing the human brush out of the DOJ and the FBI. Of course, several January 6th prosecutors also were let go last week. So I think that what they're doing is clearing away the human obstacles to any investigations or inquiries that Kash Patel wants to pursue after he is confirmed. But the thought for J6ers that their tormentors, whether they're prosecutors or FBI agents who are responsible for trying to destroy their lives over going into a government building on a Wednesday afternoon, I know I'm hearing from this, and this is probably as gratifying to them as the pardons were, because it's nice for them to finally see some accountability for the people who did this to them.
So I'm hearing these little rumblings about FBI lawyers saying, you can't do this, it's unconstitutional. Is that going to hold any water?
Right. So Norm Eisen, our favorite lawfare architect, and Mark Zaid, who also has been involved in the lawfare against the president and his supporters, they sent a letter to the DOJ, I believe it was yesterday, warning the DOJ. Now, this is really rich, right? The same people who have denied and violated the due process rights of J6ers and President Trump, by the way, led to targeted harassment of January 6 defendants and their family members, violated their due process and their constitutional rights. Now Norm Eisen and Mark Zaid are claiming that any firing or reassignment or attempting to remove these FBI DOJ employees out of the department, that they are going to pursue legal action against the Trump administration for doing that. I posted the letter on my X account this morning if people want to check it out. It's just too ironic to see Mark Zaid and Norm Eisen complain that the constitutional rights of these FBI and DOJ employees could be violated when that's exactly what they've done to 1,600 plus Americans. Apparently, there were more investigations underway, Benny. They were saying there's reports that there were 2,400 total investigations into January 6th. So had President Trump not won, those prosecutions, those cases would have been pursued, resulting in arrests and prosecutions of hundreds of more J6ers.
Please tell me, Julie, that the FBI is not going to stage a walkout against this. There's rumblings here that the FBI is going to do a walkout. Now, we remember what happened the last time that the Lady Ghostbusters went out and kneeled to BLM. I think we should let's grab those images, please, boys. But apparently, there's rumors of an FBI walkout about to happen. What's your message to those FBI agents?
I say go ahead and do it. You need to stand your ground. You need to exercise your rights to protect the deep state and protect your jobs. As one of the New York, I believe it was the New York FBI field office director sent this email over the weekend as well to his colleagues, urging them to stand their ground, that he was going to dig in his heels. He was not going anywhere, that they're entitled to these jobs. So I think that they should walk out, Benny, and let the American people see who they are and their sense of entitlement and their hopefully accountability that's coming for all of them. So let's pull them out of the shadows. Let's see who they are and explain themselves why they think that they're entitled to these federal jobs when they are responsible for destroying the public's trust in the DOJ and FBI. These are the people, yes, the heads, the seventh floor, the director, that deputy director, including the Washington field office who was fired last week. But this is a rank and file problem issue. So yes, I strongly encourage a walkout. Let's see them.
Please, more photos like this. It's like, get there you go. Show us exactly who you are. We're really looking forward to seeing exactly who walks out. We'll be happy to cover it on this program, along with some of the more interesting, I guess, resistance efforts, like what you mentioned, that there's now FBI agents that are going to stand against Trump. I read that email because you posted it. We're going to burrow in and we're going to make a foxhole and we're going to like hunker down. What they're showing is that there really is literally a fifth column that was planning on resisting Trump and sabotaging him and kneecapping him. And so that's just, that human brush is just utterly being cleared out. And that happened to start on Friday. What can we expect to happen today with the J6 inquiry and with the order? Maybe you can just detail and predict what's about to happen, perhaps as soon as today.
Well, those questionnaires are due by 3:00 this afternoon. Now, it appears that there is also some insubordination by the acting director, Brian Driscoll. I would not be surprised if he does not survive the day here, because there are reports, and I think an email that he sent as well, indicating that he was not planning to cooperate with this inquiry into all of the J6 investigators and agents. So he may not survive the day. We will see if these questionnaires are returned. Also, Politico, and I posted this as well, Politico did have access to one of these questionnaires. There's 12 questions on there. It's pretty detailed. They want to know if an agent or investigator over surveilled Americans, if they sought grand jury subpoenas, if they were witnesses, because of course a lot of FBI agents, Benny, were witnesses for the government during these J6 proceedings and trials. So they want a very detailed accounting of what these FBI employees did. Now, if there are 6,000, will they all be fired? No, but they could be reassigned. What they're doing and what they did with some of these top DOJ officials is move them to that sanctuary cities enforcement unit that they just created. So maybe the DOJ will say, hey, we've got a problem on the southern border. You guys have terrorism expertise, because of course this was a domestic terror investigation. So now we're going to send you to the southern border, or we're going to send you to other components throughout the DOJ where you can help enforce immigration law and do something really productive instead of chasing down 60-year-old grandmas from Florida who went inside the Capitol for 8 minutes, more than 4 years ago.
It's just so delicious. I mean, it is so delicious. All of these little urchins, they went crawling on their bellies to the Democrat Party to do their bidding and to torture Americans, and to torture Americans, good Americans, who did nothing wrong, who were innocent. And they did it because they thought that the Democrat Party would be in power forever, and that they were just servile, reptilian behavior to just bow to your masters and do anything. And just to prove, I'm so in favor of this, because what it proved is that they'll do anything for power. And there was absolutely no morality behind any of this, no integrity at all. What is the FBI's little motto, right? Integrity is part of it. There was none of that. They were just reptilians slithering on their bellies to torture as many Americans as the government said do, because they thought that would be permanent Democrat rule forever. And now they're finding out, man, and it's just amazing. It's just the greatest time. It's the golden timeline. It's the sacred timeline, Julie. It's so fun. Someone finding out is Chuck Schumer. This is just too much fun. We just played a Chuck Schumer clip of him with an avocado and a Corona. Maybe he's slamming that Corona to take the edge off of a letter right here from your friend, who's now the new acting district attorney. I'm sorry, the new district attorney, U.S. district attorney, who says, when you threatened the Supreme Court, what did you mean by that? We take this kind of stuff very seriously. Were you saying that you want people to go kill Supreme Court justices? This is amazing. What's going to become of this now, Julie?
So this was a letter sent by acting DC U.S. Attorney Ed Martin to Chuck Schumer on January 21st, letting him know basically they were going to be investigating Chuck Schumer's comments that he made in March of 2020, targeting Brett Kavanaugh and targeting Neil Gorsuch, calling them out by name as the Supreme Court was listening to oral arguments on that Louisiana abortion case. So it was quickly denounced even by Nancy Pelosi. Chief Justice John Roberts issued a very rare statement denouncing Chuck Schumer for calling them out, these justices by name, and basically threatening them. You're going to reap the whirlwind, or you're going to. I posted the quote on Twitter, on X as well.
You'll pay the price. You won't know what hits you. And we have to be very careful, Julie, on this program to make sure that we're never sanctioning violence. Nothing we can ever say could ever be even misconstrued as a call to violence. We're very careful about that, obviously.
Right.
Never, ever, ever done that. But this is like a clear and open call for violence. You won't know what hits you. You're going to reap the whirlwind. You're going to pay the highest price. Dude, you're threatening the lives of a Supreme Court justice. That's what you're doing, Chuck Schumer.
Correct. And he tried to walk it back, Benny, and say, oh, that's just the Brooklyn in me. I got really fired up because this protest, and there's no excuse. And then, of course, 2 years later, there was an attempted assassination of Brett Kavanaugh. And we know that conservative justices have been targeted by these organized groups, and even going after Amy Coney Barrett's children. So Chuck Schumer, so I, of course, welcome this investigation. We'll see what Chuck Schumer has to say about it. But I really applaud Ed Martin. And of course, Ed Martin is also conducting an internal inquiry into the DOJ's use of 1512C2 that was reversed by the Supreme Court last summer, and why the DOJ used that corporate fraud statute unlawfully against at least 350 J6ers. So I really kudos to everyone this team is doing, not wasting any time. They're going after the right targets, the right people. And this is just the beginning, and we'll see what happens in terms of accountability. But this is a very good start.
That's what everybody tells us inside the administration. So we pick up the phone and they're like, just prep us for the week ahead, right? This moves so quickly. We want to be able to be there for our audience. We want to be the front seat of the golden era. And they're like, oh, you thought last week was good.
Just wait, right?
Just wait. That's amazing. Everybody, from the highest levels of the White House, are like, oh, you don't understand. This is just the paperwork era. We haven't gotten started yet. And it's I can't take all this winning. I guess Trump predicted it. Final commentary from you, Julie. Since you brought up Kash Patel, now you said Kash is they're clearing the way. They're clearing the human brush for Kash Patel. What do you expect to happen? As we heard even last week, and this shocked me. We heard even last week multiple senators say Kash is going to get confirmed. He's in, right? Multiple senators during his hearing were like, "You will be the next FBI director." I mean, it's like lots of certitude around Kash Patel. What do you want him to do? So let's say all these firings are out of the way. It seems like those are happening in quick order. What's the first steps for Kash if you were advising him?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Obviously, the J6 investigating the investigators and the prosecutors, if Pam Bondi wants to do that as well, but opening up all the books at the FBI into the J6 investigation, any sort of collusion with the judges, any collusion with the Biden White House. We definitely saw that in the classified documents case with the president. So I think he really will, and this could be what will be one of the outcomes of this questionnaire, is collecting the names of the agents, what exactly they did, kind of categorizing them in terms of direct involvement, or they were just kind of overseeing some of these cases generally. So that definitely the classified documents case, the FBI raid, how it violated the terms of the search warrant. Also the use of lethal force policy that was included there, all of the agents who were responsible. And then, as we know, doctoring evidence at the scene. And then what we learned in the court proceedings, mishandling and possibly misplacing some of the files that were collected at Mar-a-Lago. So I think those probably will be two of his top priorities, but he's got a very long list. And Kash is an expert. He has seen this lawfare from the very beginning, and he's been a victim of it himself, as he talked about last week. So he's going to have his hands full, but he'll have great people around him, and Kash will be very capable of handling all of this.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to filibuster. I just have to very quickly, since you brought it up, and since this went viral this weekend, it went thermonuclear viral. I couldn't believe it. I said history will record that the FBI deciding to raid Melania's closet will go down as the single costliest miscalculation in political history, ultimately leading to the entire dismantling of the deep state and ruthless dispatching of thousands of feds who crossed her. Femme fatale. Do you agree that the Melania closet raid by these degenerates, these perverted degenerates who clearly thought they could just torture Melania, like this is what it was about, right? To prove that they could just torture this woman. Do you believe that actually that was the nexus point? Do you believe that that was the moment where the timelines split?
I definitely think the raid itself was a pivotal turning point for a lot of Americans, but especially on the right, seeing the extreme that this DOJ and FBI will go to target the president, put his family at risk, put his employees at risk. Look, Benny, this raid was never necessary. I mean, and there's reporting now that there was a conflict within the FBI saying that the raid was not necessary because Donald Trump and his lawyers were fully cooperating, which they were. But they were overruled by George Toscas, who is a DOJ official. I think he's on his way out. He's been reassigned. He'll probably quit as well. And so it was never necessary. And Melania Trump wrote about this in her book, how violated she felt, how it was just, she was so used to her husband and her family being surveilled and targeted. But this was a whole different thing for her, in that it really terrified her, and terrified her for her son as well, because Barron's room was rummaged through and raided as well. So yes, I definitely think you are right. That was a pivotal moment, and boy, did it backfire big time.
We're pretty upfront about our Melania simping around here, and we're not ashamed of it. You can't shame us over that. If Vogue won't do the work, then we will. Okay, all right. Don't raid Melania's closet. And also, lady grew up under the Soviet bloc. Like, she understands what it's like to actually have a Gestapo raiding your home and having zero private property and zero privacy. So I think that was extra triggering as a glorious F around and find out moment. Julie Kelly's full of them, and you got to follow Julie Kelly. Probably the biggest FAFO feed in the world right now is the Julie Kelly feed, with 820,000 Americans following along, and on her way to 1 million patriotic Americans is the great Julie Kelly for the best reporting out there on all of these things, but certainly the bloodletting in the deep state. Go follow Julie Kelly, obviously. Godspeed, Julie.
You too, Benny. Thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, man. So much winning. I don't even know. I'm not even sure where to begin, ladies and gentlemen. So much winning. It's, a very, very salty time. I guess we could do we probably have time for just one salt that. Get your salt shakers out, ladies and gentlemen. Get your salt shakers out for our salty margarita rims from Mexico. Congressman Chip Roy will be joining us in just a moment from Texas to tell us all about the exciting times at the U.S. and Mexico border. Get your salt shakers out for salty libs, since we're on the topic of the FBI purges. Here's MSNBC having an absolute salt-laden meltdown about the firings of the deep state. Here we go.
Happening. It can only be described as the start of a massive, much larger than expected purge at the FBI of FBI agents and officials. Many of them, in one way or another, touched the investigations into Donald Trump. Sources telling NBC News this: the Office of Acting Deputy Attorney General Emil Bobe asked the FBI for a list of Bureau employees involved in January 6 cases, sparking panic inside the Bureau. by people who fear retribution by the Trump administration amidst an ongoing purge of FBI leadership. Meanwhile, my colleague, NBC's Ken Delanian, reports that several top FBI executives were told to resign or be fired, and that the purge includes more than 20 heads of FBI field offices, including those in Miami and Washington, D.C.
But beyond that, they appear to be targeting all the FBI agents who were involved in any of the cases brought against January 6th rioters. And to put this in perspective, the January 6th riot cases make up the largest single investigation ever in the history of the Bureau. The January 6th cases are the largest criminal caseload ever assembled by the Department of Justice. If they are going to try to purge every FBI agent who took any part in any one of these well over 1,000 cases, that's kind of the whole FBI. I mean, not every single member of the FBI, but certainly most of the FBI.
Stop it. I already support Trump. We're going to get rid of most of the FBI. Okay. I mean, wait, are you trying to get me to support? I don't understand. Did Elon Musk already buy MSNBC? I don't get it. Hold on. You're trying to get me to not support Trump? You got to work on that. Programming, Pee Wee Herman. Good to see that Pee Wee Herman's legacy living on at MSNBC. Ladies and gentlemen, you shouldn't be watching MSNBC. You should be watching our show. You should be watching our show on a Patriot mobile device. Make sure that you are locked in with the only Christian conservative wireless provider in America. Patriot Mobile offers a way for you to vote with your wallet without compromising your quality or convenience. Patriot Mobile is the cell phone provider for this program. It keeps us locked and loaded all throughout America. We're going to be doing quite a bit of traveling, and it's going to be very, very fun. They're going to take us there. Available on all three major networks, the only Christian conservative wireless provider in the country right now. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny or call 972-PATRIOT to get a free month of service with the promo code Benny. Switch to Patriot Mobile today. Freedom with every single call and text that you make. patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. A patriot joins our program right now, full of salt, full of success, is the great Chip Roy from the state of Texas, who was booked before Mexico bent the knee and surrendered to Donald Trump. Joining us now joyously, Congressman Chip Roy. Congressman, this is a glorious day. You've been on this program many times talking about the horrors of the open border, and you've been on the show for years saying how bad it is, and this must be just a really exciting moment for you.
Yeah, Benny, I mean, look, it's another great step by the president. And as I said earlier, all my friends who freak out about tariffs, calm down a little bit. They are a very, very important diplomacy tool. And the president wielded it effectively here, got Mexico straight to the table quickly. And now Mexico's got to do what they've got to do. And this is the whole point about Mexico paying for the wall. Mexico is the wall. And we got to make sure that Mexico does their part of the bargain. By the way, their border is tiny compared to our 2,000-mile border, right? So if Mexico plays ball with us, this all gets ended quickly. So the president has done the right thing here, using tariffs to force them to the table, putting 10,000, for your listeners who don't know, 10,000 Mexican military up to work on their side of the border. And frankly, that's where everything should be stopping, is on their side of the river.
That's such a great point that you bring up, but we don't talk about it enough. Could pull up a map of Mexico, please? You could protect the Mexican border. I mean, the Mexican border is like the border of like Massachusetts and Rhode Island. It's so small. It's really teeny. You could lock that thing down, and I guess you could have boats and stuff coming around, but it makes it so much harder. If you close down that and the Darien Gap, then you can choke, you can stranglehold criminal immigration.
Yeah.
And do it quickly. Yeah. I mean, that's a fraction of the size, the southern border of Mexico.
Right. If you control that, and then of course we've got to manage people flying to Mexico, and we've got to still manage our border. But if you control the southern border of Mexico, and if Mexico is partnering with us, and by the way, if we restore the rule of law in Mexico by working with Mexico so it's flourishing, so the pressure valve is decreased coming to our country, then it's a net benefit for us, a net benefit for Mexico. And by the way, a giant step forward in basically having a 21st century Trump doctrine, if you want to call it a Monroe doctrine of the 21st century, that we rebuild the Western Hemisphere. We're seeing that movement right now with the Panama Canal. We're seeing what happened when Marco Rubio went down there and they're like, oh, okay, I guess we won't do the China contract now, because we're actually doing what we should do, which is put our force out there and then work with Colombia. Like we've got Colombia caving, we've got Venezuela caving, and now we can push China back out of the Western Hemisphere and strengthen our economy and strengthen the Western Hemisphere for everybody.
We really apologize. My production team is like apologizing to you, sir, for this map that incorrectly names the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America, the Gulf of Mexico. We're dead naming it. We know that's very personal to you as a Texan. We apologize for that.
Yeah, I mean, the only quibble I might have with the president is that it should be the Gulf of Texas. But hey, we'll take it. The Gulf of America, that works. And I was, I'm trained to look at the camera, not get distracted by the maps. Right?
That's right. We can't wait for that switch to happen. So, you talked about some of the various ways that people are effectively ushered to our border to crimes, and government-funded NGOs are a huge part of that. You're on the Judiciary Committee. You have the capacity to look into and criminally investigate some of these non-government organizations who have taken billions of dollars to effectuate the largest criminal human trafficking and smuggling operation in world history.
Yeah, let's understand.
Perhaps it's time to put people in prison for what they've done here, including some of the bureaucrats that allowed it. No?
Well, and I want to say a couple things here. Number one, yes, we need to look at it at the Judiciary Committee. I've talked to Jim Jordan about this. We're committed to doing that. Obviously, the Oversight Committee, Jamie Comer, they've got a lot of jurisdiction on that, so we'll obviously let them lead where they need to. But we need to uncover all of this to show where the money's flowed. But let's understand the importance of what the Office of Management and Budget did with their memo last week. And it's been maligned by some in the press. But let's understand why it occurred and why it was important and why the White House did it, why OMB put it out, was to go after these abuses, to stop these NGOs, to stop these grants. You're now seeing what Elon's doing with respect to USAID and all of the corruption there and the money that's flowed through that in the State Department. We've got to stop the money from flowing. And by the way, I have been, and we've been on this show talking about it, trying to get Congress, Republicans in Congress, to stand up during the Biden administration and use the power of the purse to stop it. It shouldn't have had to wait 4 years for President Trump to do it. We should have cut the funding off. But now we've got the president, lifting the lid on all of this garbage. So I hope now Congress will grow a spine so that we can put permanent reforms in place to stop this from ever happening again. And a final point, for those of us who are people of faith, Christians, I am so fed up with Christian, quote unquote, organizations who have been hiding behind these children and saying that this is somehow humanitarian aid for children when they were the purveyors, the funders of sex trafficking that was empowering the cartels so they could go give stupid speeches like that woman at the National Cathedral who gave that ridiculous speech lecturing the President of the United States. The president is protecting children. Republicans are protecting children. And these radical leftists at the head of churches who have abandoned any doctrine that was put out by Jesus Christ for us to protect children, they're the ones that are left holding the bag on that.
Yeah, why don't you read your Bibles, Bishop lady, right? Why don't you listen to what Christ says about what happens to people that harm kids?
Correct.
And when you travel to the border, and I know they would never dare, when you travel the border like we've done a dozen times, what you'll see is some of the horrors that happen to these children. The entire border, the border of your state, sir, is just littered with these little toys. The thing that horrified me was these little toys from these kids, little backpacks, stuff that my kids play with. Right? So it's just strewn through the desert, right? And it's clearly there's so many little children that are being abused by this system. It's sick, man. It's demonic.
And Benny, when I first got to Congress, and I knew this from before, but when I first got to Congress, I went to the border multiple times in early 2019. And President Trump was there, and these early things were happening. And they tried to stop, remember, with the child separations, all that. They were trying to stop the pressure of the cartels. Democrats threw a fit, all their fake wailing, AOC in her white pantsuit and all that garbage. Then under the 4 years of Biden, they were ignoring it. And we go down and we find the wristbands and we find all the children's toys. And you know what was going on and all of the rape trees in South Texas and all the absolutely disgusting treatment. And this is one of those things that matters. President Trump is going to go down in history trying to seek those 300,000 kids, the people in his administration, the Department of Homeland Security and Tom Homan, trying to find those kids that have gone missing. They're not all in the sex trafficking trade, but some of them are. And we got to find them. And they're going to go down in history as protecting children, protecting the most vulnerable. Because if you think about DEI and you think about wokeness and importantly, the transgender nonsense and what's happening, and you listen to someone like Chloe Cole, what the Biden regime and radical progressive Democrats have done to children, look, I'm going to have to answer a lot to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for my failures on this planet. But it isn't going to be that I was turning a blind eye while children were being abused, both for the radical left, for their progressive ideology with transgenderism, or for cartels to exploit these kids while they turned a blind eye in the name of compassion in terms of immigration so that they could buy votes. And that's what they thought they were doing. And now we're flipping that script because we're actually believing in common sense, security, sanity, safety for our kids, and rebuilding our society.
Yeah, it's amazing. You actually see images like this, and you saw Selena Gomez crying this weekend. Yeah. You see these images, and you're like, you've never done this for Laken Riley, right? They screamed when Laken Riley's name was mentioned to Joe Biden during the State of the Union a year ago. You see these images of AOC weeping and crying for when you zoom out, what she's crying for are the drug smugglers. She's very upset. She's very upset that criminal cartels can no longer operate with impunity. That's what she's sobbing over. That's what she's very upset about, right? She's like, Selena Gomez is upset that the criminals are being deported, Congressman.
Well, and by the way, all of that stuff with AOC at the fence, there was nothing across the other side of the fence. That was all acting. And, and where is all of the concern for, as you said, Laken Riley's family? Where was the concern for Alexis Nungray, whose daughter was taken from her last July? A true courageous mom from Texas who had stood up to defend her daughter's legacy, campaigning with President Trump, campaigning with Ted Cruz, going out to bring awareness to all of this. Where was the radical progressive left? If they had an ounce of any kind of sincerity, they would have said, look, we want to make sure immigrants can come here, but that should never happen. They can't even say that, right? And so this is all getting flipped on its head. Now people are seeing it. This is like COVID, right? COVID opened up people's eyes to our corrupt education system. We still need to deal with that. But this is now opening people's eyes to the corruption of a radically expanded government that is contrary to our founders, contrary to the very purpose of the Constitution, has empowered bureaucrats to undermine our freedom, given tyrannical powers to the FBI and to all these bureaucrats to target you and me and our kids, have endangered our kids, endangered our communities. And Donald Trump and those of us who are standing up trying to fight in Washington, we're trying to restore that constitutional order, restore common sense, restore the rule of law, and the American people are getting excited. They can breathe again. They can laugh again. They can enjoy life again. And that's what we need to continue. But Congress better stand up and make this permanent. And we've got a lot of work to do if Congress can actually find a backbone to do it.
Okay, so let's do a final question here on the backbone, going after the real heart of darkness inside of our federal government. USAID, I'm sure you've seen, Congressman, all throughout your timeline, how this CIA cutout organization has been used effectively to weaponize global Marxism against institutional governments around the globe, and including ours. Just recently revealed that USAID was funding left-wing Soros prosecutor groups in order to facilitate the Trump prosecution. So it's like our own government is paying for the Trump the prosecutions of Donald Trump to try and put Trump, their enemy, in prison for 400 years. Part of this funding went to go create COVID in a lab in Wuhan, China. You just mentioned that. So this is how Dr. Fauci got his funding to go out of America's borders and do illegal experimentation, gain of function to create COVID in a lab. And this is true criminal behavior. Will the Judiciary Committee in the House, which can actually move at much greater speed and a lot faster than in the Senate, actually look into this and maybe start bringing in a Dr. Fauci, start bringing in the USAID people who've been trying to block Elon Musk from investigating?
Yeah, well, certainly the the House Judiciary Committee will need to look into all of this stuff. We should share jurisdiction with some other committees to make sure that we're doing it the right way, but we will do that. And Congressman Jordan is focused on wanting to do that. And importantly, understand that this is just the tip of the iceberg. Elon tweeted out I don't know if you saw it, a picture of an iceberg or showing the corruption that we've encountered and then all of the massive corruption under the water. USAID is a big vehicle for it, but that's not the only place, right? And what we're seeing this happening. Things like the FCC and what's going on with George Soros' own Odyssey and what they need to do to stop that. What's happening with the United Nations generally, which I've proposed defunding and getting out of, but particularly UNRWA, which was funding the Palestinians, the China, one child policy, all of these things. We've been funding, as we already said, the NGOs moving people into our country, funding the people that are targeting us and that are funding the groups. Yep, there you go. There's the image of the iceberg. We are just seeing the tip of the iceberg. A lot of us have known this. We've tried to expose it. And I'll say in some modest defense for some of us, people say, well, you're grandstanding. You go out and you give these speeches. Well, God almighty, I've been trying to get this stuff out for people to see. And we've done some of that, which has led to this, right? Hammering UNRWA, hammering the United Nations, hammering these grant programs. But it is so corrupt. And by the way, the founders knew this. It's why we were not supposed to create this fourth branch. We weren't supposed to create a bureaucracy that's unaccountable to either the president or us. And right now, everybody freaking out about the president's use of power. It is a unitary executive. The president of the United States can hire and fire. And, you know, we, Congress, can then control the purse strings and have hearings. But that's what this is all about. Congress has been abandoning its duty for decades to use the power of the purse to constrain all of this. The president is changing the game. Congress needs to learn from that, put in barriers and guardrails to this ever happening again, and help him break it down.
So you would be in favor of a full-scale investigation into USAID?
And all of it, not just USAID, all of it. All of the various grant programs, all of the various, the money going to the United Nations, all of it, including USAID.
Very quickly here, Dr. Fauci. I just haven't asked, but it's something that I want to bring up because the American people really do want justice. I believe he's history's greatest monster. Arguably has led to more pain and suffering and horrors worldwide than anybody living today. What should happen to Dr. Fauci, Congressman?
Well, as I said after the so-called pardons by President Biden of Fauci and others, that we should push the bounds of that. There is no reason that Dr. Fauci cannot be and should not be called before multiple congressional hearings to get him to answer for all of the issues. If he's pardoned and therefore the president has given him the ability to escape any kind of prosecution for whatever he says, then what are you worried about? For the sake of humanity and history, then come speak. But if then you lie under oath, then going forward, you're not pardoned for future behavior. So he ought to come forward and have to answer specifically for every single thing that he did, what he knew about gain-of-function research, what was his involvement in the money that was flowing to the gain-of-function research, what did he know about mask efficacy, what did he know about the vaccine or the shot, whatever you want to call it, efficacy. What did he know about whether people should be fired for using their own personal judgment or the religious views to say, I don't need that? What did he know about the shutdowns and what that would cause? In fact, what did he know about when people were being blocked from going into hospitals to see their loved ones? All of the things and I didn't even touch the tip of the iceberg, all of the stuff that crushed economic growth, caused hardship, caused people to lose their businesses, caused people not to see loved ones, caused people to die because they took a shot they were mandated to take or lose a job because they wouldn't. All of that stuff. He knew and he was at the center of it, and he was arrogant and he was smug and he was using his power to enrich himself while undermining the safety and security of the American people. He should have to answer for that in front of the American people and take a grilling. And then we see what the stretch the bounds of what the pardons actually mean.
Yeah, I love that. What school of law, what body of law says that you can be pardoned for no crimes that you've been charged with? I mean, I really would love to see the challenge of these pardons. Like, are they even legal? Can you just blanket pardon someone who hasn't ever been charged? At least Hunter Biden was charged and was facing prosecution for things. Like, this makes no sense. It seems like a terrible precedent to set. Nonetheless, Congressman, we're really thankful for you coming in and, like a bull, breaking down some of these walls around the corruption inside of our federal government, and we very much look forward to 4 glorious years of this and maybe more.
We've had 40 years packed into 2 weeks, so just look forward to what we have going forward. And your bull reference. So we got the San Antonio rodeos coming back here in 2 weeks, back in San Antonio. It's rodeo season in Texas, so it's a good reference.
Hell yeah, there it is. There's Congressman Chip Roy right there in Texas on a farm. On the farm, you live on a farm, yes? Okay.
10 acres. In Texas, that's just basically a postage stamp. But yeah.
Oh, man. Take the bull by the horns. The great Chip Roy. Go follow him. 500,000 Americans. Can't be wrong. Thank you, Congressman.
Thanks, Benny.
Ladies and gentlemen, so much to cover. We need to touch on one thing. USAID, very quickly here. USAID is coming collapsing down, and we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time to get to it today. But we are doing a deep dive as a show, and we are going to be bringing you breaking news, some very big breaking news, some stories that we are working on right now exclusively about the criminality of USAID and what they've been doing. USAID is this massive black box funding organ, octopus, that gets its tentacles into all these foreign governments and is used as effectively a cutout for the CIA to oppress citizens, populist candidates, free people all over the world. And it's coming down in quick succession. It's been deleted effectively from the internet. It's been deleted. The accounts have been deleted. And Elon Musk is going through there on a rampage. What blew up this weekend was that USAID was actually funding the Trump prosecutions. So this is supposed to be like, oh, we're helping people with AIDS in Africa, right? Like the little baby, he can't eat anything, he's so hungry. Nope, they're funding Trump prosecutions. They're funding Alvin Bragg's office to put Trump in jail. The great Mike Benz making this point about the corruption at USAID. Here we go.
Are you guys processing this? Every time you hear the word Soros prosecutor, no, they're USAID prosecutors. And USAID is a CIA front. And its whole purpose is to accomplish the State Department's goals, or sometimes the military's goals. This is a palace coup, folks. This is rogue organs of the federal government preventing the American people from electing a president. This push to prosecute Trump by Alvin Bragg, Soros was a minor co-funder. He gave them $10,000, that's it. And the $14 million he gave to the parent company, the fiscal sponsor of FJP, well, that ain't shit compared to $28 million, the $27 million that USAID gave him. But it all works together because, like I said, Soros is State Department. Soros is USAID. Soros is attached at the hip. Soros Inc. is a donor and drafter in the State Department network.
We are going to be doing a deep dive into the evils of USAID. The website has been shut down. We can show you here. It's no longer live. The website can't be found. USAID has been taken completely offline. USAID did fund COVID. It did work with Dr. Fauci to create monster viruses. It did work as a CIA front in order to effectively destroy democracy worldwide. Look at this from the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele. Most governments don't want USAID funds because they know that where the money's going to end up is inside of opposition groups and NGOs with political agendas to destabilize our governments and fuel dissent. He's saying this is a complete kickback for left-wing Marxism. Oligopoly is what's going on here, and people like scumbags like Bill Kristol create little organizations called Defending Democracy. USAID gives them $20 million, and then Bill Kristol just takes a fat paycheck out of that. It's a massive money laundering scam for globalist Marxists, and it's all been shut down. Here's Elon Musk's take on it. We're going to do a much deeper dive on this tomorrow. But here we go. USAID ball of worms.
As we dug into USAID, it became apparent that what we have here is not an apple with a worm in it, but we have actually just a ball of worms. And so at the point at which you don't merely, like if you've got an apple and it's got a worm in it, maybe you can take the worm out. But if you've got actually just a ball of worms, it's hopeless. And USAID is a ball of worms. Mm-hmm. There is no apple. And when there is no apple, you've just got to basically get rid of the whole thing. That is why it's got to go. You know, it's beyond repair. So, yeah.
Well,
enough of the lies, enough of the lying to the American people, enough of taking our funding and funding the actual destruction of our nation through Trump prosecutions or through the death of American citizens via fentanyl or via incompetent Black Hawk helicopter operators. We now know the identity of the female Black Hawk helicopter soldier who flew the plane directly into the commercial aircraft, something that we're going to very much be looking into and have a lot of threads on right now. Apparently, all of the social media was deleted for Rebecca Lobach, a 28-year-old former Joe Biden employee at the White House. Very strange. Why would Rebecca Lobach, who was working at the White House, be flying a helicopter in America's, like in a literal war zone, America's busiest airport? Every single plane flying into Reagan houses a member of the administration, a senator, a congressman, a celebrity, a tour group. This plane that was blown out of the sky by this helicopter had on it Olympians, Chinese nationals, Russian nationals. Could create like a huge international incident. The helicopter does no evasive maneuvers, flies right into the side of the damn jet, kills 70 people. And we didn't find out who was the third member of the crew until just now. The family kept the name out of the news. I don't know how that's their right. It shouldn't be. And now, with the announcement of the Rebecca Lobach name, comes a bunch of puff pieces about Rebecca Lobach and zero social media. We know Rebecca Lobach was an activist who supported Joe Biden. I'm not saying that that disqualifies you from military service, obviously. But what I am saying is that when you are deleting and scrubbing all of their social media, it seems like you're lying to us again. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be looking more into this story, all right? We've just scratched the surface here. Why would they be doing this? Why is this individual, who had only 500 flight hours, which is not a lot, flying over the most dangerous airspace in the world? Why didn't the helicopter pull up? Why didn't anybody do anything? The helicopter was flying a mile off course, twice as high as it was supposed to be flying, and didn't respond to the control tower saying, "Get out of the way of the plane!" Time and time again. So yeah, we're pretty sick about this. There's a lot to bite off and chew. You are in the front seat of the golden era. We're not backing down, ladies and gentlemen. We're very proud to be able to bring you all of the news from the from the golden era. Part of that news will be J.D. Vance in East Palestine, Ohio. So expect us to be live very soon, ladies and gentlemen, to cover J.D. Vance doing a full press conference and a tour in East Palestine, Ohio, something that is near and dear to our heart based on some of the work that we've done there in that city to help those poor people out. It's so awesome that J.D. Vance is there as one of his first trips. Goes to Western North Carolina and then to East Palestine. Amazing. He'll be live soon, and we'll be following that on the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Build the single fastest growing news stream in America. Thank you so very much for joining us and being part of this movement. Our verse of the day today. Get rid of all the filth and evil in your lives and humbly accept the word of God as planted in your hearts, for it has power. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen. This is from James 1:21. We're seeing that power. The word of God does have power. Get rid of filth and evil. Maybe that should be the new tagline for the show. This is exactly what's been happening in this country, and I think we're just getting started. Thank you so much for supporting us. Please join the Benny Brigade if you feel so inclined. You can find that at bennyjohnson.com. You can support our work here, become a member on our channels, and lock in for the golden era. We are going to be fighting right alongside with you. It's Benny. March on together. You can't defeat an army of happy warriors. Let's freaking go. We are winning. See ya.
Oh my God! How do you boys like your gifts? It's tariffs.
Do you like it?
No!
What?
This ain't the stuff I like!
Where the truth gon' be faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to life. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.